Good evening, guys. It is July 13th, 2023. On this video, I want to talk to you about how long a vacuum cleaner can last. And I get a lot of people who say, well, there's no way that, I can make a vacuum cleaner last so long. That couldn't be further from the truth. It all depends, it all comes down to maintenance. And that's kind of the way that, I look at it. Now, I will say that vacuum cleaners and just appliances in general are not made like they used to. There's no way around that. They're just not made quite as well as they used to be. However, the consumer is still at fault in some areas, because if you are not willing to do the research, take the time to figure out the necessary maintenance, and you aren't willing to just stay on top of it and take care of it, then that is your fault. And so I think there's a lot of misconceptions, and a lot of people just think, oh, when it stops working, I just throw it away and I buy a new one. Well, that's honestly a false thing, because there are many, many vacuum cleaners that people have thought were bad, and they have thought, well, I just need to throw it away and get a new one. And I have taken those and I have cleaned them up, I have fixed them, and 99.99% of the time, it's just a clog or a broken belt. And this is one thing that really kind of gets on my nerves. And especially now that prices and costs are going up, it's very important to know how to take care of things, regardless of what it is. Make sure that you are taking care of what you already have. Maintain it very well. And just basically with vacuum cleaners, all it boils down to is it doesn't have to be heavy maintenance. Although most vacuum cleaners that are available today are very high maintenance, which is absolutely ridiculous. I will not put up with it. I have tried some of the modern ones that are out today, and for the most part, most bagless vacuum cleaners, there are a lot of extra work, especially a Shark or a Dyson or something of that nature. Your average consumer is not going to understand, how to deal with all of that. And so, I just think about those things. A bagged vacuum cleaner is arguably going to be a lot easier to maintain, and you just don't have to think about it all that much. You just use it for like a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then once the bag is full, you just pull that bag out, you throw it away, you push a new bag in there, and you're good to go. You might clean some hair off the roller and maybe change a belt, and that's about it, compared to something, nowadays like a Shark or a Dyson, where you're cleaning out cyclones, you're cleaning out canisters, you're cleaning out filters, and most people just don't want to do it. And I don't blame people, but that comes with the territory of owning a bagless vacuum cleaner, you know? And so, the one thing I would say, especially to the average consumer, now, I understand the collector and enthusiast is on a different level, and the collector and enthusiast understands a lot of these things. But I'm talking mainly to the average consumer with this. You need to make sure that you understand what maintenance is required. And are you willing to do that? Are you willing to clean it out, every couple weeks? Are you willing to, keep the filters changed and clean and everything like that? If you are, then you go right ahead, but I just want you to be aware that it's going to be a lot more maintenance, and having a bag is just so much more simple because you just pull out the bag, you throw it in the trash, and you put a fresh bag in, and you're done. And like I said, the bags usually last at least a month, but depending upon your household and the size of your house and how many are in your household, whether you have pets or not, they can last 3, 4, 5, 6 months before you have to change the bag. And the bags hold a lot more dirt, dust, and debris than a bagless container. And you can just go and go and go, and you don't have to think about it. And unfortunately, the vacuum cleaner industry has basically convinced people that a bag is inconvenient. You're going to constantly be changing bags. You're always going to be losing suction and airflow. You're always going to be maintaining it. You constantly have to change the bags. And it's just not true. I mean, if you get a machine with a large bag like an Oreck or a Sebo or a Kirby or something of that nature, all those machines that I just listed right there have massive bags, absolutely massive. And so you can go months and months and months and months on one bag. I mean, you can go like 9 months on a bag, depending upon your household. And so, really in the grand scheme of things, it's not all that much work. And most people aren't willing to take the time to maintain their vacuum cleaner. And if you're not willing to take the time to maintain it to that level of like keeping it cleaned out, then a bagged vacuum cleaner is arguably your best option. It just is, because if you don't want to constantly be cleaning stuff out, if you don't want to constantly be dumping stuff and constantly be trying to keep the filter clean and everything like that, then a bagged vacuum cleaner is arguably the best way to avoid that. You're still going to have maintenance, you're still going to have to clean out the brush roller, and you're still going to have to change the bag every few months. But it's not going to be a constant maintenance of, you constantly have to clean stuff out, because To be honest, the performance of a bagless vacuum cleaner drops significantly when there's any restriction in airflow. A bag, it's literally just going straight into the bag, and there's so much more surface area in the bag to allow air to pass through, thus pulling more air, and you can fill them and go a lot longer on one bag than you can with most filters. I mean, it just kind of is what it is. And unfortunately, the vacuum cleaner industry, they have done that on purpose. They have basically brainwashed people into thinking that a bagless vacuum cleaner is far superior and that it will perform better and that it's, better, for the environment and it's better for everything else, and it's just not true. I mean, can you make a bagless vacuum cleaner last? Yes, but it requires a lot of maintenance, and most people just aren't willing to take the time to do that maintenance. And so that's the one issue, and they basically are trying to make you believe that you can just use it and there's never going to be a cost in maintenance. There's always going to be maintenance costs on some level. I mean, there just is. It's no different than your furnace filter. It's no different than the oil in your car and the filters in your car and stuff. It's no different. It's the exact same thing. So, and basically they want you to get frustrated with it and throw it away and buy a new machine. That's just the way our society is. And it's unfortunate, and I hate it. It's disgusting. I don't agree with it. I am totally against that because, it costs more money in the long run buying machines over and over and over again, and not to mention the environmental impact, which I'm not an environmentalist, but I can tell you that I know for a fact that it is not good for these things to be thrown out in our landfills every single year. And so, it all boils down to just common sense. Keep them clean, keep them maintained, and they will last you a long time. And then, lastly, make sure that you buy a good quality vacuum cleaner. Make sure that you buy one. Like, if you're gonna spend $300, $400, $500 on a vacuum cleaner anyway, you might as well look at commercial grade machines. I'm dead serious. I mean, because if you're spending that money, and and believe me, there is a huge difference in the quality of, say, a Dyson to a sanitary commercial or a protein, commercial grade machine. There is a huge difference in the quality, and they're basically in the same price range. And so, because the Dysons are all plastic, and those other machines, they have thicker plastic and they have higher quality materials, wooden rollers, metal parts, where, they're needed, and it's just going to last you a lot longer. Now, as long as you maintain it, it's definitely going to last you a long time. This machine that you see in front of you right here, it's 11 years old. This is a Hoover wind tunnel. I believe it was manufactured in 2012, but I could be wrong. It runs like a champ. I mean, part of it is because it's bagged, it keeps the machine cleaner, and it's easier to maintain, and so I'm not like constantly doing things to keep it running. It just works. And at the end of the day, that's basically what you need. Is you just need something to get the job done. Now, I do believe in buying higher quality machines that clean better. This machine does clean very, very well. But you could have all the features in the world. You could have all the fanciest things in the world, but if it's not going to get the job done, and it's not going to be easy to maintain, and it's not going to last, and if you can't get parts for it, which that's another thing, Sharks you can't get parts for very easily. You can't get into them very easily. Dysons are kind of the same way. And a lot of other machines are kind of the same way. And so do your research. Make sure that you can get parts for them, replacement parts such as brush rollers, belts, bags, any other, part that might wear, like hoses and things like that. Because that all contributes to making a machine last. Is being able to get parts for it when you need it. Because, let's face it, nothing lasts forever. Parts are going to wear out, they're going to break. And being able to find replacements for those machines is incredibly important. Now, I want to make sure that people understand that a vacuum cleaner, at the end of the day, and I'm not talking to the collector and enthusiasts, I'm talking to the average consumer here. At the end of the day, what is the purpose of a vacuum cleaner? Ask yourself that question. Is it to look pretty? Is it to be flashy and impress your friends and your family? Or is it to keep your home clean, maintained, and do a good job? Because honestly, you shouldn't really care too much about the way it looks. You shouldn't really care too much about a lot of that stuff. And I'm not saying that you can't, look for something, that's in a color that you would prefer. Look for machines that, are good quality, and then look at colors that are available and stuff. And certain things, I mean, I have my favorite colors, I have my favorite designs and stuff. But at the end of the day, this isn't going to really make a big difference. And so, just make sure that you understand, what you're looking at. And understand that it is a tool to be used to serve you. And as long as it does the job, and as long as it does a good job, and as long as it lasts, that's really all that matters. And so, anyway, I just wanted to make that video and let people know, what to look for and how long it should last, because it should last you at least 10, 15, 20 years if you get a good one. And it is very possible. You just need to make sure that you get a good machine, one that's made well, one that will last a long time, and one that parts and supplies will be available for it for a very long time. And that is why I strongly recommend commercial grade machines. So anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.